Reconnecting. We're all in. Okie dokie. 3 and 2 and 1. They're going for it. I'm popping behind the camera. Great. JB, was it?
Yeah, Jean-Baptiste, JB, however you want.
Pleasure. It is a pleasure to formally make your acquaintance. Good evening, party people. Welcome to St. Maisie's Bar and Supper Club here in Brooklyn, New York. I'm joined with JB, Jean-Baptiste. He's requested of me specifically to say it that way to make sure that the French aspect of the word is specifically articulated.
Well, I always appreciate when people bother pronouncing my whole long
right?
name.
I mean, you earned it, right? You earned your whole name,
Well,
right?
when I have to fill on the forms, I always have a bunch more letters than most people to fill out. So yeah, it's only normal that people addressing me bother saying the full name.
Naturally.
I'm joking.
Oh, you're good.
You can
You're
call
good.
me
Jean-Baptiste
JB if you prefer.
Roberts is the full name, or just JB if you're familiar with him, like I am at least today. Now, Robert is a family name. I think you've been.
Robert. Yeah.
Robert.
It's
Robert.
very
I appreciate the correction there. Honestly, I think I've had at least one drink myself. I think you're what, 1 or 2 in so far?
2 or 3.
They're good, right?
Yeah,
That's indicative. That's indicative. In any case, so I've got an opportunity here to do a quick interview with JB here in regards to Absente. I was invited out here for their press and media dinner in swap out for our typical show tonight. It's a little bit earlier for folks who typically view in here. It's usually an hour or so, but we're here in the bottom of a bar in New York City, Brooklyn specifically. So if the ping's good, great. If the lighting's good, great. None of it was planned. So we're just going to roll with this. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about, I feel like we should start with absinthe in general. So what is your personal relationship with absinthe? Especially Absente is 110 proof. It's a little bit up there. I don't know if you've been drinking it since you were a youngin' or whatnot. I don't know. Don't say any incriminating things, naturally.
Well, in France, there is no real age. Like normally, the age is 18, but no one drinks. And I started drinking daily when I was 15, just because that's what we do with dinner with my parents. As for absinthe, so my family distillery dates from 1898. So 120 years ago, when absinthe was legal, we were doing it. Then it was forbidden.
Yeah.
And what was forbidden was to use wormwood and to have something over 90 proof, like no more 110, 120 proof. So French people turned to other drink, actually pastis. And absinthe was never in my, it was a myth, a legend when I was little. It was not something of the present, you know, it was like the cowboys, the pirates, and all those stuff. Or the musketeers and stuff like that. So no more I would think of drinking absinthe, but I would think of becoming a musketeer or a cowboy. Which actually I did when I was little.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was gonna ask you. Do you feel that you've in trying to figure out what your career path is, have you fallen below the rank of musketeer, or are you right above that with where you're currently at right now?
Well,
CEO kind of carries a little bit of weight to it, right?
I hope Van Gogh would rank me as a colonel of the musketeer.
We can only hope so, right? We can only hope so.
Anyway. Back to the absinthe. So absinthe was reloaded in 1999, if I remember correctly. Our US importer just came to us and said, hey, you know what? Just dive back in your old recipe if you have kept them. Well, not that we kept them. There were some books. No.
Okay.
Just to tell you,
yes.
Back then, 120 years ago, my family distillery was a little stuff, no bigger than this area where people were smoking pipes or distilling. They would distill whatever ingredient they had on that day. As long as you had wormwood, which you have everywhere in the south in the north of Provence and the southern Alps, they would distill anything. Anyway.
Did you have like family wormwood trees of sorts just laying around?
It's not trees.
They're not trees. They're shrubs.
No, it's a plant that grows up to that side if you're lucky this size.
Interesting.
And it's not, we have fields now because you need fields, otherwise it's too much of a bore to go in the mountain to get them. But mostly in Provence, in the Alps. It grows on its own. Usually it likes rocks. So you find it next to goats or next to rocks.
Okay.
That's what I can say. So you don't have like, if you have a rocky garden, you're gonna have a few sticks of
Wormwood just kind of grubble up. Is wormwood considered like a weed of sorts? Kind of like a dandelion here in the States? No?
So basically, it has some molecules, notably the fusion, that you find in weeds.
Yeah.
However, it's much less powerful. Just that in the 19th century,
Yeah.
Van Gogh, Picasso, all of those weird people, Toulouse-Lautrec, Gauguin, and so on, they didn't have this.
Yeah.
They had opium coming from Indochina and it was very expensive. They had alcohol and they had absinthe. And absinthe was quite super cheap because it grows naturally.
Yeah, it grows effectively everywhere. It's crawling through the cracks and stuff.
Had they had weed, absinthe would have never made it. Because absinthe has the same molecule as weed, but it's somehow quite less powerful.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you find that? I don't know, I'm curious about how absinthe, specifically absente, found its way toward your front door and how it came in. I want to say, if my research is correct, it was around 1999 where y'all brought it to the States. Like, what was that like? Like coming from a place that everyone had these misconceptions about absinthe, that it was going to make you see things, or make people go crazy. Like, what conversations had to happen to bring it to where we are now?
That's kind of the question we ask our importer. How are you gonna get it? It's been forbidden 100 years ago. And he told us, well, don't be too much worried. It's still in the books. People knows about it. It was the main ingredient of Sazerac, which is the oldest cocktail in the history.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot of culture about absinthe. It might have been a dead drink for 90 years, but it's time to revive the corpse. And there is the, let's say, there is the demand, the appeal, the atmosphere, whatever. There is the
People want it.
yes, there is the background behind it. And that's it. And he was right. Like, as our provincial people, my father, myself, my brother was not so much in business, but and the rest of our people are just into production. But my father and I were a bit surprised, a bit suspicious. But at the end, that was the thing to do.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started working in New York in 2002 and 2003 and selling absinthe, people actually knew more than I did about absinthe. Because they had read Oscar Poe, Oscar Wilde, Hemingway. They knew about the Sazerac and a bunch of things.
Naturally. Do you think that the prevalence of the Sazerac cocktail that calls for absinthe, the Ritz, was the leading factor that allowed you to bring absinthe to the States? Everybody wanted to make their cocktail, especially in New Orleans. Like, was that the driving factor, or I assume there were levels above?
Well, I think first it's like absinthe was getting trendy for whichever reason that you don't know. The corpse revived after 90 years, like the Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
The Sleeping Beauty was the way it came after 100 years. The corpse revives, whatever. There was this. Absinthe is a high alcohol drink, means that it's a high excise duty drink for the federal government.
That's fair.
I just think that's the main reason.
No, it's fair. Like, I feel like my main experience with absinthe up to this point has been a party or two. We're all taking shots at absinthe. That's the thing to do, as opposed to the more traditional way of consuming absinthe, which is via the slow water drip and sugar cube. So I guess, because I see a couple of people crowding in here now, so we're going to have to get some more dinner. If I had to ask the one thing regarding absinthe in particular, is there one like sort of misconception about absinthe that you had the opportunity to just strike it through the record? Like what would it be? What would it be?
Yeah, you asked me about that. So basically there is one thing that people need to know is that absinthe is made of wormwood. People think wormwood is still forbidden. No, wormwood was real in 99, and since 2007, for 8 years it was a kind of a bastard law. We showed it. You can use it, but you have to. You cannot say it's wormwood. You gotta say it's southern wormwood, it's petit wormwood, whatever. Even since 2007, you can say absinthe. You can say absinthe. You have to say absinthe refined, absinthe original, absinthe ordinaire, whatever. But no, now. I mean, you can say it, but anyway, even back then, absinthe is made of wormwood. Our absinthe is made of wormwood. We have a field of wormwood next to the distillery. And most of the absinthe are made of wormwood. All of those made in France and Switzerland are made of wormwood. And most of those made in the US, most of our competitors, even in the US, they import wormwood from the Alps. And they make it so. There are very few fake absinthe. So most absinthe that you can find here in the US.
It's kind of like the neon green stuff, right?
Yeah, it has to be green because basically when you mix it with the Roman wormwood, which is the herb that gives the structure, it turns to green.
Okay. Specifically the Roman wormwood, right?
The Roman wormwood is the herb that gives the color. I can teach you, I'm not sure if your audience wants to, but I can spend an hour with you telling you how we distill and all the herbs. It's going to be a bit longer than what you expect.
Learning about what the heck is your bottle that you're drinking from, so there's more to learn about specifically wormwood. The southern, the northern, the Crillon, the northern ones.
No, we use wormwood, which there is no southern or northern. We call it southern because we are in the southern.
Does it have to grow from the cracks? Specifically the concretes between the interspaces and the center?
Wormwood normally grows on its own. You can help it grow, but it's not so easy. So that we have a field next to our distillery that we use, but it's nothing like it should grow wheat or corn or whatever. One year you get a crop, 1 year you get nothing. Anyway, there is wormwood, there is star aniseed, green aniseed, fennel, there is mint, there is lemon balm. I'm not going to give you all of them, but basically,
don't share the secret recipe. I don't want to know the secret recipe.
The structure, the taste comes from the aniseed, the wormwood. The hallucinogenic comes from the wormwood. The structure, the structure is a bit, I would say, the depth of the dimension of the taste, how long it's going to last in your mouth. That comes from two herbs, mugwort and the Roman wormwood. And those two herbs, they are not distilled, they are macerated after distillation, and they give the color. Especially the Roman wormwood, they turn it green, which is why absinthe has always been called the green berry.
But that also means too that if you intercept that process somewhere before the maceration part, you can get a clear absinthe of sorts, right? Or is it not considered absinthe?
No, yes, you can. Actually, when absinthe was forbidden, a lot of distilleries kept on doing absinthe, but because they didn't want to be caught by the police, they didn't do it green because
They did it a little bit clear, right?
So they would skip the part where you use the Roman wormwood. They would distill everything, you would come clear out of the plastic. You wouldn't have the structure of the real absinthe, but you would still have the taste. It would not linger as long in the palate. But it would be clear, and therefore you would not be caught and fined or jailed by the police when they see you.
You can get away with it, and you
You
can
just
enjoy
say,
it too,
oh,
right?
it's an anisette, and that's it. So that's where the clear anis come from. The clear absinthe. Clear absinthe are all post-prohibition absinthe. The real absinthe before 1915 are natural green. They should have the green color.
That's fair. So I'm not sure if I even got it, but if there's one thing about absinthe that you want to dispel, like one misconception to get out of it, could be that wormwood is toxic? Because absinthe can only be green. Like, what myths do you want to dispel about absinthe?
Well, none of those, because it's true that absinthe, wormwood is a little neurotoxic. Just gonna tell you, it's not gonna give you make you as high as the drug or anyway. That it's green, yes, it should be green. What else could I say? It's like, it's not even a misconception. It's a true conception that I want to change. But I want to change that. Some people think, oh, if you don't do the ritual with the sugar and the spoon, it's not a real absinthe. And I want to say, yes, that's true.
Okay.
If you get the ritual, you use the spoon and the sugar. But I'm having a lot of fun just drinking my absinthe on the wall.
Or this is just like this. You guys prepared for the event, right?
Yes,
Did you like this?
I love it. I'm just not a cocktail person. I don't have the patience. Once I have my absinthe in hand, I put two children and
I like the idea that absinthe is still absinthe regardless of how you drink it. It could be with the slow drip style, it could be with the sugar, it could be in a cocktail. It might not be necessarily everybody's speed, but if it's absinthe, it's absinthe. If you want to drink it however way they want you, right? That's right. JB, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for coming out to the event too. I love the cacao.
I hope so, because that's the last of the myth. Absinthe is about terroir, but it's mostly about fun.
That's right.
It's how much Provençal terroir, the terroir of the Alps, can give you some fun. So please make sure you have fun tonight.
Terroir of the, am I saying that right? Terroir.
Terroir, soil.
I remember learning in the wine class. I don't think I can remember right. It's terroir. Terroir?
I would say terroir.
Terroir. With a little at the end.
With the air.
I like that. I like
like
that.
Robert.
I dig it. Like Robert. There we go. There we go.
From the terroir.
I dig it. Thank you again, JB. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Let's go and have a drink.
Everybody else for tuning in, let's tune this out. Thank you again, JB. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys back at the bar again next week.
I stole your glass. I can give it back to you.